M60.
A lethal weapon made by the Americans to respond to the Soviets during the Cold War. It was named the Star of the 60s and competed in its temptation to the armies, the American actress Marilyn Monroe, who rose to prominence in that period, and Turkey and Egypt became its largest owners. All you need to know about the M60 tank. It entered service at the beginning of the 60s of the last century. It was made by the United States as a response to the Generation T for Soviet tanks, and quickly rose to prominence because of the advantages it had. The first version of it contained a cannon, a machine gun, and an anti-aircraft, which made it able to fight in all places in the battle in the beginning. The United States distributed it to NATO countries to confront the Soviets, among them was Israel, which used it in the 1973 war against Egypt, but the Egyptian aviation was able to destroy it, as Israel developed it and the Americans participated in its development. Where the U.S. Army used it in the war against Vietnam, where the Vietnamese soldiers succeeded in confronting it, so a serious copy called M60A1 came out, which is a more powerful version of the first generation, and then a copy of M60A2 and M60A3 appeared, making developments on the mother tank, as the Egyptian army developed the tracks of this tank and made it more resistant to sand, and Israel added a firefighter and night vision, and therefore users began competing to improve it more. Currently, the caliber of the tank's cannon ranges between 105 and 120 millimeters, and its weight ranges between 50 and 55 tons with a length of 7 meters and secondary weapons of 7.62 and 12.7 calibers. The crew of the tank consists of 4 commanders, the guide, the cannon launcher and the machine gunner. The tank contains a smoke exhaust device, a ballistic launch system, a climate sensor and a telescope, thermal and laser detection system, and the latest updates on the tank is to add development to the firing system, where it can hit its targets even if they are moving. Also, its old engine, which was 700 horsepower, was changed and replaced with a 950 horsepower engine, where its speed became 60 km per hour. And the two most famous parties are competing to develop it. The first party is Turkey and Israel, and the other party is the Arab Republic of Egypt, where Egypt is considered the most country that owns this type of tank in the world, with a number exceeding 1,700 tanks, then Turkey, which owns 900 tanks. As for the wars in which this tank participated, they were in the Vietnam War and then in the October War in 1973, and Israel used it to attack Lebanon in the 80s, and the United States used it in the Kuwait War, and the Egyptian army used it against extremist groups. The tank became a mainstay in the land forces of Egypt and Turkey.